if you've been trying to really get out this burnout cycle, you've been trying to like meditate or fit yourself in, have a couple hours for yourself at the end of the day, but then it's at the end of the day and you're like, oh, like I don't even have time left. I don't have time left. I don't have time left for me. I'm too exhausted to take care of me. It's because you left yourself the little leftover in your day. So of course you're not going to fill up to it because you gave everything to everybody else. You gave everything to your job. You gave everything to your boss. Hello. What's up? If you don't know me, my name is Mel. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll be talking about how to get out of a burnout cycle. So if you're always exhausted, overwhelmed, drained, and you feel like you just have zero energy, it starts to affect your sleep. You don't get good quality sleep, or you have trouble staying asleep, you have trouble falling asleep. You are in this constant state of stress. Stress, overwhelm, anxiety, exhaustion. Stress, overwhelm, anxiety, exhaustion. Stress, overwhelm, anxiety, exhaustion. It's a cycle that you stay in. So first, I want to say that this is not normal. Being burned out and feeling this heightened level of stress, feeling stressed all the time, feeling anxious all the time, feeling overwhelmed and exhausted all the time is not normal. And you do not have to suffer through this. It's not a normal thing. I found that a lot of people go into burnout cycles. So they'll get burned out and then they'll try to figure out how to get out of that burnout cycle by doing things that don't really fix anything. You might think that to get out of a burnout cycle, all it takes is for you to get some rest, but it takes much more for you to actually avoid getting burned out in the future. Because as long as you have been burned out and you've been in that burnout cycle, that is in your mind. So the more you go in and out of burnout, the more that becomes a habit for you. And the more that gets stored in your subconscious mind. So you're going to keep unconsciously, or you're going to keep unintentionally getting burned out. Even if you're trying to like do all the things, but you find that you just can't stick with certain things in order to keep yourself from being burned out. So a lot of people who are high achievers or whose identity is so tied to their job title or tied to what they do for a living. I'm not even going to say that. I don't even like saying like, what do you do for a living? And I saw something about this. I'm bad with like remembering exactly like quotes and stuff. But I saw something saying like when somebody asks what you do for a living, people automatically say what they do for their job or what they do for work. But it's like, what do you do for a living? Like, how do you live? How do you live your life? How do you experience your life? When your identity and your life is so tied to your job description and what you do for work, you're going to keep getting burned out because your worth is tied to your job. Your worth is tied to your job title. So when this is the case, you have this subconscious belief that you're not worthy. So you then try to prove your worth by going above and beyond at work, by taking on this superhero challenge and taking on all these tasks and overbooking your calendar and being like a yes person and people pleasing and finding it hard to set boundaries in your workplace. That subconscious belief that you're not worthy shows up as all of those things because you're trying to prove your worth through your work ethic and through how productive you can be or how much you can achieve. This is so common in society. Like the amount of clients that I've worked with who have that type of dynamic or get stuck in those burnout cycles because of this, because of that subconscious belief, it's crazy. It's so many people tie their identity to their job. Just in case you don't know what like a burnout cycle is, it starts off as you feeling really good about yourself when you're productive at work. You hitting your deadlines, everything is cool, everything's good, and you feel this sense of pride and this sense of like worth when you achieve what you want to achieve. And then you stay on that path, you praise yourself for it, you get praised for it by your boss, maybe you get recognized for your hard work or your work ethic. And then you try to keep this up, you try to keep this image up, and you'll try to work. And then you start to feel guilty, or you start to feel bad when you're like a little slowed down, or when you need to rest, or when you need to take a break. So then you start stressing out. When you start stressing out, that starts to affect your physical and your mental health. So when you start stressing out, when you hold on to that stress, it can show up as things like just feeling anxiety, or feeling this pressure to perform, feeling this pressure to achieve like you were achieving when you felt you were really productive. Once you start to stress, and that starts to affect your physical and your mental health, your concentration, your focus, and your productivity levels are now affected. And since your identity and your worth is so tied to you performing for your job, or you achieving or hitting these certain tasks, you're going to feel bad about it. You're going to feel guilty about it. You're going to feel like you want to be performing at the level that you want to perform at, but you're going to be too tired, too exhausted, too drained, and too emotionally exhausted. Like you won't have that mental capacity to even focus on what you want to focus on. That fatigue will start to hit you. And then you're just like in this chronic stressful state, because once you get stuck in that period where you're just like run down, drained, you're overwhelmed, you're exhausted, your mind is taking note of all this. So the more you feel those negative emotions, the better you're going to get at them. So these negative emotions are becoming ingrained in your subconscious mind, and this is becoming an automatic habit for you. So that's why people go in and out of burnout. They try to get themselves out. They end up right back in. They get themselves out. They end up in, out. And once you keep constantly going into those burnout cycles, constantly feeling stressed and overwhelmed and anxious and drained, just emotionally, mentally, physically exhausted, once you hit that point, you're going to start to feel even more physical symptoms, especially if you're the type of person who holds your emotions in, or you try to overwork to escape your mind, like to escape those thoughts, to escape that stress, to escape that anxiety, to escape those emotions, or hide those emotions, or pretend that everything is okay when inside you really don't feel like everything is okay, when inside you're really suffering, you really feel like crap. When you do that, this is going to show up as even more physical symptoms. Like burnout really increases your risk of heart disease, memory and concentration problems, gastrointestinal problems, so belly issues, if you're always nauseous, or if you have issues like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. It literally affects every system in your body. You won't be able to be productive. You'll be so run down. You'll start to get headaches. It starts to affect your sleep. You just can't function that way. You can't keep putting yourself in and out of this burnout cycle. Burnout is not fun. It's not fun. If you have a high demanding job, so if you're like a healthcare professional or something, and you really want to keep your job, you don't have to get rid of your job in order to avoid the burnout cycles. You don't have to quit. Some people quit if they don't know like how to deal with that. Quitting your job is not going to be the answer if you do fall into those burnout cycles and you don't want to quit your job. So if you have a high physically or mentally demanding job, and you really like that's your heart, like you want to keep doing that, you don't necessarily have to quit. So getting to a point where you can avoid the burnout cycles, you can like avoid going in and out of feeling like crap, feeling drained, feeling overwhelmed, feeling exhausted, stressed, anxious. To avoid that, your subconscious mind, it has to be reprogrammed. It has to be. Because right now your worth is so tied to your job description or your job title, or your worth is so tied to your work ethic and what you can do for people or for a job or for your boss, right? You have this subconscious belief that you're not good enough, and you're trying to prove your worth through overachieving. You're trying to prove your worth through people pleasing and through not knowing how to set boundaries, not knowing how to say no at work. So as a result, your schedule is always overbooked. You're always taking on these tasks, or you just feel bad or feel guilty when you need to rest, when you need to recharge. So the key to not falling into those burnout cycles really lies in the reprogramming of your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind has to be reprogrammed to kill this habit of you trying to prove your worth. It has to be reprogrammed to kill that habit of you trying to prove your worth through the things that you can do for people, through the things that you can do for your job, for your boss, for your patients, for whoever. It has to be reprogrammed. Once it's reprogrammed, your subconscious mind has to then be rewired. It has to be rewired. So rewired to kill that habit, kill those habits of you people pleasing and not knowing how to set boundaries and always putting yourself on the back burner and making yourself a non-factor or a non-priority. Because the more you continue to do that, that is a habit, and the more you continue to do that, the better you're going to get at it. And you're doing it subconsciously, which means you're doing it automatically without you even realizing that that's an issue. You just do it. You just like, oh, that's just my work ethic, or I'm just a giver, or whatever excuses you have for giving and not having anything left for yourself, or trying to pencil yourself into your schedule at the end of the day once you've exhausted yourself and you literally have nothing left to give. All of that has to be killed, because the more you do those things, the better you'll get at them. And if it's not done in your subconscious mind, then you'll keep struggling with this. You'll keep going in and out of burnout cycles. You'll keep placing yourself at serious risk for not only mental health issues, but physical health issues. So I help my clients with that subconscious reprogramming and rewiring, so their mind knows, like, I don't have to prove my worth. I know that I'm worthy as I am, and I don't have to people please. I don't have to do this. I don't have to try to prove myself. I don't have to blah, blah. I don't have to try to achieve all this or be this super person. It has to be done in the subconscious part of your mind. If you want to stop struggling with this, if you want to stop feeling so exhausted, you want to stop feeling so drained, you want to stop feeling overwhelmed, you want to stop putting yourself in this anxiety, stress, burnout, depression cycle. Because it gets really real when you get stuck in that. And then you're trying to find ways to get out of it that are just surface things that don't really help you to prevent that don't really help you to become burnout proof. The reprogramming of your subconscious mind really helps you to become burnout proof. So you don't even have to keep getting to that point where you feel so run down, you feel so exhausted, and you literally have nothing left to give. I'm going to say this so many times. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You just can't do it. I have some water in here, so I can pour from this cup because I'm still halfway full. But once my cup gets down to here, how am I going to pour from that? I'm not going to have anything left for myself. So, in another analogy, when you're on a plane and you're supposed to put your face mask on first before you save somebody else, because then you're not going to live. So, this applies. You got to take care of yourself. You got to make yourself a priority, and that subconscious reprogramming really is a way to quickly start putting yourself first, to quickly start making your needs a priority so that you're not feeling guilty or shame or feeling bad for having to rest or having to take time off or having to take a mental health day. You don't have to go through that. And this is how you break free from that burnout, stress, anxiety, depression cycle. This is how you break free from feeling emotionally exhausted and drained all the time. That is not a normal way to live. All it's doing is placing you at risk. It's placing you at risk. You overworking and you always feeling burned out, or you going, some people get into burnout and they just can't get out of it. They can't get out of it on their own. It's okay if you can't get out of it on your own. But it's up to you to seek the help that you need to seek, because as long as you are going in burnout and then trying to get yourself out and then just falling right back into that same burnout cycle a couple weeks later or after you come back from vacation. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, so to prevent falling right back into the same traps, right back into that same burnout cycle, this is really the key This is really the secret. Sometimes you can't do it by yourself. You can't do everything by yourself, and that's okay. And that's another part of the puzzle is seeking help. Like, we're human. There's other humans who know things that we don't know. So if you've been trying to really get out this burnout cycle, you've been trying to like meditate or fit yourself in, have a couple hours for yourself at the end of the day, but then it's at the end of the day and you're like, oh, like I don't even have time left. I don't have time left. I don't have time left for me. I'm too exhausted to take care of me. It's because you left yourself the little leftover in your day. So of course you're not going to fill up to it because you gave everything to everybody else. You gave everything to your job. You gave everything to your boss. So to stop that habit and to stop neglecting yourself, because let's keep it real, you are neglecting yourself. If you keep getting burned out, like you're neglecting yourself if you get burned out. So to avoid that, this is really the secret. This is the key.
This is the key to doing that.
So if you always find that you have these emotions, you're always overwhelmed, you're always stressed, you're always drained, you are always getting burnt out and then trying to like save yourself, and then you fall right back into it. If this is you and you just want to end this, you want to become burnout proof, okay? You want to become burnout proof for good. Like, you don't got to keep putting yourself through this. If that sounds like something that you need, especially during these times, then click the link below that says book a free strategy call here. If you got any questions for me at all, click that link too. If you have any questions or comments, concerns, if you want to share your experience, drop me a comment. I'll be happy to chat with you. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Let me know. Give me a little something. And you can, and subscribe to my channel for more content. More content like this, more content like some other things. I release content a couple times a week. And that's all I got for you in this one. But if you made it this far, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you. Let's become burnout. Become burnout proof. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.